Pleasant good evening to you and a warm welcome to Weekend News here on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation with me, Esther Sako. Sierra Leone, first the headline. Sierra Leone Electricity and Water Regulatory Commission reports that some communities in the regions pay electricity bills or face forceful meter removal despite long blackout periods. Minister of Planning and Economic Development launches 8 strategic development plans to guide development in local councils. And President Bill joins other heads of state in Nigeria to celebrate the life of former Nigerian head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar. These stories and more are lined up in this edition of Weekend News. Stay with us. Welcome back. We begin the news this evening with one of our top stories. The Minister of Planning and Economic Development has launched 8 strategic development plans aimed at guiding the development actions of 8 councils across the country. Launching the plan, the Minister of Planning, Minister Kenya Bale, promised to take development to the 190 chiefdoms in the country. Suleiman Babatui has more that story.
Development plans officially launched.
The plans capture the needs of the different districts and councils, including both district and municipality, Kailaon, Kambia, Koinadugu, Pujao, Port Loko District and City Council. The 8 districts and councils prioritized agriculture, human capital in education, health, wash and social protection, youth employment and skills, improving technology, infrastructure and connectivity, and strengthening governance and accountability. To achieve the priorities, the council said they would strengthen the collection of on-source revenue generation.
All along, we have been investing creating structures that can give us more revenue, like building market stores and infrastructure that can give us more revenue, like guest house, market stores and other things. So in the event, in the next 1 or 2 years, the resources we have from those areas can help us to finance our own project.
The chairperson of Port Loko District, Aliu Badara Tarawali, appealed for more support and called on government to disburse budget allocations in time, especially for emerging districts and councils.
Implementing this plan requires adequate resources. We cannot move forward with this plan without the support required to effectively administer our biggest plan.
A bottom-top approach was used to develop the 8 plans with the consultation of the people. The Minister of Planning and Economic Development, Kenya Bale, noted that the plans aligned with the SDGs, the Big 5 game changers, translated into actionable budgets, allowing local councils to champion their plans with adequate budgets. She said her ministry is developing a modernized strategy to unlock 1% chiefdom development funds levied on mining companies, supplementing shrinking international aid and widening national resource gaps.
Now we have some chiefdoms in this country that have had over a couple of million, up to $4 million worth of resources lying in an account for them that they cannot access because they do not have feasible intervention strategies. So the ministry is starting, we put together a PRA framework and is going to be working. The 2 initial chiefdoms will be Marampa and Mapoki.
The minister called on development partners, CSOs, and the media to support and hold authorities concerned accountable for the achievement of the indicators in the plans. Development partners, World Bank and UNICEF pledged to support the councils to achieve their plans and commended government for the developmental strides undertaken, especially in reducing child and maternal mortality in the country. SLBC News. Sulaiman Babatue reporting.
A healthy mind, they say, is found in a healthy body, and doctors believe that prevention is better than cure. Meanwhile, growing public consciousness about healthy living means that organizations are now integrating physical exercise into their programs more than ever. In its first Health Walk event, the Archdiocesan Catholic Men's Association has brought together members of the public and those of the Catholic community in Freetown. The event, which was held at Aberdeen Beach, was aimed at promoting healthy living and preventable healthcare with support from Ramsey Medical Laboratories. My colleague Aminat Bangura was there for the SLBC and now reports.
The participants did not only take part on the health walk, but they benefited from health awareness activities organized during the event. In support of the initiative, Ramsey Medical Laboratories provided free health screening services to the first 100 participants. The services included blood grouping, blood pressure checks, and body mass index assessments, giving participants the opportunity to monitor their health status and receive basic medical evaluations. The managing director of Ramsey Medical Laboratories, Dr. Abbas Wui, said that health remains its institution's primary focus. He noted that the laboratory supports initiatives that promote health, particularly preventive health care, and encourage people to adopt healthy lifestyles to improve their overall well-being.
Most problems can be solved if identified early. So I think a lot of people, especially in Sierra Leone, wait until the problem becomes a crisis. Whereas if you identify stuff early, you can tackle it early. And early diagnosis gives you a better prognosis, as we say. So it helps the outcomes that way.
Andrew Bernard, an honored president of the Archdiocesan Catholic Men's Association, said the association organized the health walk as part of its ongoing focus on men's mental health and overall well-being. He expressed gratitude to Ramsey Medical Laboratories and other sponsors for supporting the initiative.
From the time I took up, we'll be celebrating the Father's Day as one of our big celebrations. So we try to come in with activities that will promote brotherliness. But we are the fathers of the Archdiocese, so we want to commune, we want to work as a community, we want to be as friends, and we want to make sure people know themselves, because we are having 29 churches. So we saw the need to have a health walk for this year, Father's Day, so that we can start from preaching to the action.
Isaac Fude, one of the participants, said that walking and playing football are part of his regular routine, making the event an ideal opportunity for him to take part and support the cause. Other participants praised the organizers and sponsors, especially Ramsey Medical Laboratories, for supporting an initiative that encourages healthier lifestyles in the community. SLBC, Aminata Bangura reporting.
President Julius Maada Bio has welcomed Sierra Leone and Hajj pilgrims back home and joined them for their first Friday prayers since returning from the Holy Land. The special prayer service was held at State House. Our State House correspondent Margaret Tenge has more that story.
Chairman of the Presidential Task Force on Hajj, Sheikh Murtada Sise, described this year's pilgrimage as one of the most successful in Sierra Leone's history. He said no deaths or major incidents were recorded during the pilgrimage. According to him, about 2,626 Sierra Leoneans, including members of the diaspora, performed Hajj this year. Of that number, 826 pilgrims traveled directly from Sierra Leone. Sheikh Sise thanked the government institutions and partners whose support made the journey possible.
Many people don't help me. If I not tell you this, then it will appear like we don't do the work. But in fact, I think people never mention that they don't actually help me to let the Hajj succeed. And I want to start immensely from your office, the State House, and the vice president office and the team. The vice president office don't give me full time this year, more than last year. So that helped me for move fast. Well, I'm tell you, thank you, sir. God bless you. Also, the fact that we get a full-fledged Saudi embassy now, it helped the Hajj process. And I'm glad that the ambassador don't come. Barakallah Afrika, Jazakallah Khair.
Welcoming the pilgrims, President Julius Maada Bio thanked them for praying for Sierra Leone, the Vice President and the government. The President said reforms introduced by his administration have ended the challenges that once plagued Hajj operations. He noted that Sierra Leonean pilgrims now travel with dignity, respect and better condition. President Bio also commended Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallo, the Ministry of Social Welfare and the Deputy Minister for their commitment to ensuring a successful pilgrimage. He reaffirmed the government's determination to improve the lives of citizens, describing peace as one of the foundations for national development.
Thank you, His Excellency. Thank you, Vice President. Thank you, Chief Minister. And for Tennessee, we are very obedient pilgrims. And we hope we will be changed individuals where we can. And we hope we will contribute meaningfully to the growth and development of Sierra Leone.
Delivering the sermon, Imam Badamasi Savage urged the returning pilgrims to uphold the values and lessons of Hajj. He emphasized the importance of unity, peaceful coexistence, and good character as central pillars of the pilgrimage experience.
Oh, pilgrims, with all the safe return, let we remember, say we get great lessons them for learn from the Hajj where we go perform. We go learn first for say the life you for be sincere and honest. Just like how you try for doing sincerely for the sake of Allah. You for be honest for whatever responsibility you get and try for be sincere.
Imam Savage called on all Sierra Leoneans, especially those in leadership positions, to promote peace, unity and mutual respect. He said love, cooperation and respect for the rule of law are essential for national progress. The Imam added that peaceful coexistence remains one of Sierra Leone's greatest blessings and noted that the Quran strongly advocates those values. In his closing remarks, President Bio thanked religious leaders for their continued guidance and prayers. He prayed for God's forgiveness, strength and blessings upon Sierra Leone, its people and leadership. Reporting for SLBC News, I am Margaret Senge.
As the rains intensify across Freetown, blocked drains filled with garbage are not only causing floods but are creating dangerous conditions for the spread of malaria, cholera and other diseases. We investigate the growing public health threat facing vulnerable communities like Kubi. Zedab Madi filed on this report and was read in the studio by Joyan Dumbuya.
As the rainy season worsens across Freetown, growing concerns are emerging over the impact of blocked drains and poor waste management on public health. In several communities, including Susan's Bay, drainage channels are heavily clogged with garbage. Susan, a community member, told SLBC the flooding has affected them badly.
When the water enters the community, people suffer and many businesses are disrupted. The drainage system is blocked, so customers cannot come to the market and will lose home. Many people, especially children, become sick with cold and other illnesses because of the flooding. We are asking the government and other stakeholders to help improve the drainage and support families in this community so that we can live and work in safer conditions.
Umu Amara, who lives at Susan's Bay, explained that the drainage has overflowed since the starting of the rains.
We beg up our government.
That was when I started calling on the authorities to come and see the situation for themselves. We are appealing to the government to help us address this large gutter. Whenever it rains, dirt and debris wash down from the mountains and fill the drainage channel. The water then overflows, causing flooding and making life very difficult for residents.
It is the people living here who suffer the most. We struggle to create makeshift crossings so that people can move around. Sometimes, we contribute money to put temporary structures in place, but when we cannot afford it, we are left with no solution. solutions. We are begging the government to come to our aid, especially for women and families living in this community. We need a proper drainage system that will allow water to flow freely and prevent flooding. We are pleading with the authorities not to forget us. We are human beings like everyone else, and we deserve safe living conditions. We ask the government to have pity on us and help solve this problem before the situation gets worse. Salimatu Kamal lives in Madina community.
The water they carry that speed for enter now we rooms there.
When the dirty water flows through the gutter during the first rains, it affects our home badly. If the rain falls at night, the water comes with short force that it enters our houses. At that moment, we cannot save our belongings. We only try to save the lives of our children.
During the last heavy rains, my house was seriously affected. Water entered the rooms and everything was flooded. We are appealing for help. We want the government to assist us by building a proper drainage before the rainy season becomes more intense. We know the rainy season begins around April, and every year we live in fear. When the high water level raises and mixed with the rainwater, the flooding becomes even worse. The water can quickly overflow and take over our homes. Sometimes you cannot rescue your property. The flooding can sweep everything away and even put the life of our children at risk. This is why people here are afraid to keep belongings in their homes. Whenever the rain starts, residents rush to move their important possessions to safer places.
According to a report by the Sierra Leone Electricity and Water Regulatory Commission, communities in the region have raised concern over continuously paying for electricity bills even when they suffer blackout, and operators forcefully removing meters from people's homes for debt even when they suffer blackout. This report came during a press brief at the Commission's office in Freetown, where media personalities were updated on the MYTO engagement in regions. Suleiman Babatouye has run that story.
We really want to have a complete ban on the land issue before we want to focus on what the customer wants.
The report was the results gathered from the Sierra Leone Electricity and Water Regulatory Commission's National Roadshow engagement, which aimed at democratizing the multi-year tariff order MYTO and strengthening consumer participation in the energy sector. In doing so, the Commission engaged 229 community stakeholders and 20 communities in 5 regions, including Moyamba, Bo, Kono, Bombali, and Potloko. People in the report said they were willing to pay the high mini-grid tariffs if they received reliable and high-quality electricity supply. In Moyamba and Koribondo, according to the report, concerns were raised for continuously paying of electricity bills even when they suffer blackout for a full month. In Kono and Makeni, the researchers observed serious breakdown of dialogue between operators and community leaders, while the people in Mara and Musaya continue to endure a 2-year blackout due to battery depreciation. In Bompe community, it was observed that ongoing roadwork has destroyed drainages, causing flooding of low-mounted meters and the abandonment of mini-grid poles in the center of newly paved roads. While Foredugu has been without mini-grid electricity supply for over 2 years. In Konakridi in Potloko district, it was stated that daily mini-grid electricity supply uptime has reduced from 20 hours to 3 hours, followed by system maintenance delays. Upon all these, plus concerns on blind meters, communication errors, and people not being able to read and see electricity tokens, the researchers say operators forcefully remove meters from people's homes, requesting they pay their debts.
And for us as a commission, we thought that for a multi-year tariff to be effective, and for there to be a multi-year tariff increase, the public has to embrace and consumers in the rural communities. These highlight issues must be addressed accordingly.
The Deputy Minister of Energy and the Deputy Director General of the Sierra Leone Electricity and Water Regulatory Commission pledged to address the concerns raised as the project aimed at building a transparent, accountable, and consumer-centered energy sector for all Sierra Leoneans.
The Commission should remain committed to maintain the momentum generated by this campaign. Additional consultations should be held to ensure stakeholders are fully informed as tariff determinations are finalized.
We observe a significant improvement in public understanding of how electricity tariffs are determined. Communities increasingly recognize that tariffs are based on objective and transparent calculations rather than arbitrary decisions.
This is to exhibit the Commission's commitment to transparency in its regulatory operations. SLBC News, Suleiman Babature reporting.
Following the arrest of 68 individuals at Belu checkpoint in Kalau District over a week ago, the Executive Director, Anti-Trafficking in Persons Task Force Security said government has trained border operatives on how to identify warning signs associated with suspected trafficking cases. Joyan Dubuya takes up the story following the incident earlier this month.
Human trafficking remains a challenge in Sierra Leone amid several porous borders across the country. Earlier this month, about 68 individuals, including children, were intercepted by security forces on suspected human trafficking at Belu checkpoint in Kailahun district. According to the International Organization for Migration, the Center on Human Trafficking Research Outreach, among others, have reported a significant number of trafficking in person cases at border areas in Sierra Leone over the past decade.
Unsuspected people, giving them promises so that they can move them and trap them in slavery-like situations, either within the country or outside of the country. In this situation, these 68 persons, there were 45 children, 19 women, and 4 men.
Amidst these latest developments, what has the government done to prevent similar happenings in the future?
We are training and we continue to train border operatives on how to detect, identify victims of human trafficking and refer them for protection services. And this is what they have done at the Bailu checkpoint. They did similar thing very recently in Kwenadugu district.
To ensure its sustainability, the executive director said his office has been working with the Ministry of Social Welfare to establish a case response and management team in Kenema. At this point, the victims who were intercepted by the security forces are now provided with psychosocial support, food and other essential items, while the police investigations continue.
When they were done, they moved the suspects and the victims to TOCO, that's the Transnational Organized Crime Unit here in Freetown. So they are right now with TOCO for further investigation. But let me quickly also add that in TOCO, we are teaming up with World Hope International to provide further psychosocial support.
Authorities say continued vigilance at border crossing points is needed more than ever before. For SLBC, Julian Dumbuya.
A matter involving a 21-year-old Abubakar Kale, a student, has been committed to High Court by Magistrate Mustapha Brahmaja of Padema Road Court No. 1 to answer to a charge of murder. Our court correspondent Mohammed Kouma tells us more.
According to the particulars of offense, the defendant on Monday, 6th April 2026 at Moiba, Kisi in the western area of Freetown, allegedly murdered one Mohamed Bangura. No plea was taken as the matter is before the court by way of committal proceedings. Prosecution witness number 1, DPC 18670 Mamelamin Bangura, attached to the Regional Police Division at Ross Road Police Station, told the court that he recognized both the defendant and the deceased. He recalled that on 8th April 2026, while on duty at Ross Road Police Station, he received a case and inquiry file transferred from the Moiba Police Post. He said the file contained a police medical request form and a Ministry of Health referral form. He further said that on the 9th April 2026, in the presence of Sergeant 8602 A.K. Kaifala, he obtained a voluntary caution statement from the defendant in Creole, which he recorded in English. At the conclusion of the statement, it was read over and explained to the defendant, who admitted it to be true by affixing his right thumbprint. The statement was produced and tendered in court as part of the prosecution's evidence. The witness said that on the 8th April 2026, he wrote a request for a postmortem examination on the remains of the deceased. The request was also produced and tendered in court. He added that on the same date, together with Scenes of Crime Officer Inspector M.S. Kamara, he witnessed the postmortem examination conducted by Dr. Simeon Owis-Koroma. Following the examination, the doctor issued a cause of death certificate, which was equally produced and tendered in court as evidence. DPC Bangura further testified that on the 27th April 2026, he compiled and forwarded a report on the alleged offense of murder to the Office of the Director of Prosecutions for legal advice. On 5th May 2026, he received advice from the DPP directing that the defendant be charged with murder. Both documents were produced and tendered in court. He said that on the 11th May 2026, together with Sergeant A.K. Kaifala, he formally charged the defendant with murder using the same procedure adopted in obtaining the voluntary caution statement. The charge statement was witnessed, signed, and subsequently produced and tendered in court as part of the prosecution's evidence. The witness was cross-examined by defense counsel Muke Amara. At the close of the prosecution's case, Tommy Zaiza informed the court that the prosecution had led sufficient evidence. Having carefully considered the evidence adduced before him, Magistrate Mustafa Bremaja ruled that the prosecution had established a prima facie case against the defendant and consequently committed Abu Bakar Kale to the High Court for trial on the charge of murder. For SLBC, Mohamed Koroma reporting.
And now, in the central part of Freetown, a woman who was in her late 50s named Anas Namin Williams was found dead in a room located at Sarah Cruz Street, Cotown Road. She was not seen for nearly 5 days. Her body was discovered only after neighbors noticed a bad odor emanating from her apartment. Our intern reporter Alimami Kunte filed in this report and was read in the studio by Mohamed Koroma.
It was an emotional moment here at Setra Cruz Street, Cotown Road, Freetown, as morticians carried the remains of Anas Namin Williams. According to a resident in the area, Edward, the deceased sister met him and claimed that she had not seen her sister for about 5 days. He said the sister Bali told him she was getting some bad smell from the late woman's room, which she suspected to be a dead rat. Based on that information, he and Bali immediately left for the house to ascertain what had happened.
When we come to the house, now say me not go inside one table. Let us check through the window.
When we arrived, the window had been tied shut with pieces of cloth. I started shaking it until it eventually opened. As soon as it did, flies began swarming out. We used a torch, opened the door, and discovered the body. The body was swollen and the face was also badly swollen. I immediately said this was a police matter.
A family friend, Plo, said Hannah had faced long-standing domestic conflict within the shared household.
We find it difficult to understand how someone could go unseen for several days in a shared household, especially where there were concerns about a strong odor. We are calling for full investigation and for justice for Hannah Sinmi Williams.
The latest happening in the area ignited intense anger in the community as youths stormed the house, throwing stones and demanding immediate accountability and justice for the deceased. In response, police have detained the family members who were living in the house. They are currently being held at the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, to assist with the ongoing homicide. A postmortem is expected to be conducted to establish the exact cause of death.
The Institute of Public Administration Management, IPAM, has launched a smart college mobile and web application. It is designed to improve academic and administrative services for students, lecturers, and university administrators. Esther Suzanette Bassi tells us more.
This app is formally launched. Thank you.
The new application is part of IPAM's digital transformation agenda. It provides students with access to course registration, class timetables, attendance records, academic results, notifications, and online fee payments through Visa cards and mobile money platforms. Launching the application at IPAM's campus at AJ Momo Street, Tar Hill in Freetown. The Deputy Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Sajo Aziz Kamara, described the initiative as a major step forward in the digitalization of higher education in Sierra Leone. He said the platform reflects creativity, innovation, and local talent, while supporting the ministry's vision of improving quality, accessibility, efficiency, and global competitiveness in higher education through technology. He also stressed the importance of ensuring sustainability, cybersecurity, inclusivity, and integration with other national and institutional digital systems.
What is most impressive about the app that we're going to launch is that it's homegrown, it's localized, it's a local solution. It shows the talents that we have in-house.
Deputy Vice Chancellor of IPAM, Ezekiel Duremanilako, explained that the application forms part of a broader strategy to digitize university operations and reduce inefficiencies in academic management. He disclosed that the platform would eventually be integrated with the University of Sierra Leone's portal, finance systems, attendance management, and examination processes.
And in this system, we have all the designs awaiting the university portal. In the future, your grades of paid-up students will be seen in this portal.
According to university officials, IPAM has already introduced a digital examination system that has been used by more than 1,500 students. Plans are also on the way to introduce digital attendance, monitoring, and automated GPA calculations. The Smart College app will serve as a one-stop platform where students would access transcripts, academic information, attendance records, fee payment services, and other important university services directly from their smartphones. Authorities and students were optimistic that the Smart College app would enhance institutional efficiency, strengthen data management, improve service delivery, and enrich the overall student experience and learning. For SLBC News, Esther Suzanette Bassi reporting.
If you're just joining in, this is Weekend News coming to you live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation from Freetown. We continue with more stories. In a move at improving the learning environment in Sierra Leone's educational institutions, the government of China, in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme and the government of Sierra Leone, has handed over thousands of classroom furniture sets to higher education institutions in the Western area. The initiative forms part of a nationwide education support project designed to address infrastructure deficit and enhance access to quality education. Our reporter, Alwyn Roy Fox, has more that story.
The official handing over of items to beneficiary institutions in the Western area brought together government officials, development partners, educational administrators and students to witness the distribution of furniture aimed at improving teaching and learning conditions. Delivering the overview statement, UNDP resident representative Frederick Ampere described the initiative as a demonstration of the strong partnership between Sierra Leone, China and UNDP in advancing education. He disclosed that the project has delivered over 14,000 pieces of classroom furniture, including more than 7,700 sets for schools and higher education institutions.
To procure these 14,000 pieces of furniture and still have $600,000 left. We made a cost savings of that amount. And what has that cost savings translated into? It's translated into procuring additional furniture to reach out to more schools and more children. This is the power of partnerships.
Minister of Technical and Higher Education, Dr. Ramatulai Wuri, welcomed the intervention, describing it as a practical response to infrastructure challenges affecting educational institutions across the country. According to the minister, a conducive and dignified learning environment is critical to achieving the ministry's reform agenda and producing competent graduates capable of contributing meaningfully to national development. She called on beneficiary institutions to ensure the furniture is properly maintained for future generations.
I would like to take this opportunity to express, on behalf of the government and the people of Sierra Leone, our sincere appreciation to UNDP for its continued partnership and technical support, and to the government of the People's Republic of China for this generous contribution. This collaboration underscores the strength of our bilateral and multilateral relationships and the importance of solidarity in advancing human capital development.
Delivering the keynote address, the ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Sierra Leone, Chao Yong, highlighted China's long-standing support to Sierra Leone's education sector through scholarships, training programs, and skills development initiatives. He noted that the furniture distribution project will benefit schools and educational institutions across 14 districts, while reaffirming China's commitment to supporting Sierra Leone's human capital development agenda.
This project, which started July last year, will provide about 20,000 furniture units for primary and secondary schools, technical and vocational education and training institutions, as well as universities across 14 districts nationwide.
The furniture handover forms part of the Supporting Access to Education project, jointly implemented by UNDP, the government of Sierra Leone, and the Chinese government. SLBC News, Alwyn Roy Fox, reporting.
Sugar Gold College of Cosmetology, Arts and Fashion has reaffirmed its mission to elevate vocational education in Sierra Leone by hosting its 8th graduation ceremony at the Miato Civic Center in Freetown. Abdul Kabir has more on that story.
This 8th graduation ceremony showcased the college's dedication to strengthening Sierra Leone's middle-level workforce, with a particular focus on empowering women through hands-on expertise in fields such as nails technology, makeup artistry, among many others. The graduation emphasized the role of women in driving national development and equipping them with marketable skills to thrive in the modern economy. Established women leaders shared insight with graduates on how to leverage their knowledge to positively impact society. Entrepreneur Awanatu Toure underscored the importance of skills development as a cornerstone for success in present-day Sierra Leone.
When people look at success, they often see the finished products. They see the crown, the business, the achievements, or the recognition. But they rarely see the countless moments of doubt, sacrifice, rejection, and perseverance behind the scenes.
Managing Director Theodora Gabin Mensah stressed the college's focus on practical, job-ready results.
we started in education. This has been a story I've been saying or narrating year in, year out. But the good thing about it is every year I'm narrating this story. Something new adds up. Something positive adds up. Something greater adds up. Starting in education with only one student and using your house help as a student as well, and cleaners at this facility as students as well, and having this number of students here today is a great achievement.
Deputy Accreditation Officer of the National Council for Technical Vocational Education praised the college's effort in empowering women in present-day Sierra Leone. Graduates expressed immense satisfaction with their specialized training, noting that the skills acquired will enable them to bridge the gap.
This is my first big graduation after high school, and I'll say I'm just overwhelmed because I never expected it. Although I believe in myself and I am a person that does not give up, I knew I would be here, but at the same time, I didn't expect it. Mostly the certificate, I had to read a poem, and it was so good.
By aligning vocational training with the rigor of traditional degree programs, Shika Gold College continues to inspire a new generation of professionals and reshaping the narrative on vocational education in Sierra Leone. Abdul Kabir, SLBC News, Freetown.
The ECOWAS Commission, together with ONEP, has engaged a cross-section of civil society organizations in Freetown to popularize the ECOWAS Vision 2050 agenda. The vision is the long-term development plan of the community, serving as a collective aspiration of the people of West Africa. Ibrahim Samora has more.
The session, with CSOs drawn from different organizations, was designed to present the ECOWAS Vision 2050 agenda for the community and working closely with civil society organizations to help popularize the document in the communities they are operating. The vision articulates the key priority areas of focus for tackling the major development challenges facing the ECOWAS community under the slogan, ECOWAS of the peoples, peace and prosperity for all. ECOWAS resident representative Ambassador John Azuma said the ECOWAS Vision 2050 is not merely a strategic document but a proud ambition for the people of the ECOWAS community, which places citizens of the sub-region at the center with special attention on women's empowerment, youth and employment, and vulnerable groups.
The vision encapsulates 5 key pillars. 1. Peace, security, and stability. 2. Governance and the rule of law. 3. Economic integration and connectivity. 4. Social inclusion. 5. Transformation and innovation.
Presenting the ECOWAS Vision 2050, Planning and Coordinator Officer, ECOWAS Commission Patrick Lamboy, said gender equality, youth employment, digitalization, climate resilience, and capacity building are the cross-cutting issues captured in the document.
The bread and water pillar, transformation and sustainable development, that is where we do things around agriculture, etc., etc. And then pillar 5, social inclusion, youth, gender, disabled, etc., etc.
Head of ECOWAS National Office, MODEB, Komba Momo, catalogued a host of ECOWAS Commission achievements and intervention in Sierra Leone, citing the ECOWAS intervention during the country's civil war, funds to the Human Capital Development Projects, supports to agriculture, support the construction of the ECOWAS Logistics Depot in Lungi, the Kono University, and award scholarships to girls, among others. The ECOWAS Vision 2050 is a shared, inclusive roadmap for a peaceful, prosperous, and integrated West Africa focused on people's well-being. Ibrahim Samora, Freetown.
The High Court of Sierra Leone has begun hearing an appeal filed by the defense team of popular musician and influencer Zainab Shaif, challenging a conviction and sentence handed down earlier this year by Magistrate Mustafa Bamaja of Magistrate Court No. 1. Mohammed Kouma report.
Following Zainab Shaif's sentence of 4 years and 2 months imprisonment, our defense team has filed an appeal against a conviction. At the hearing before Justice Magigba, State Counsel Ibrahim Tholi raised a preliminary objection, arguing that the defense had failed to comply with the appeal rules. Tholi submitted that the defense did not adequately set out or explain the judgment on the challenge, stressing that appeals must strictly adhere to procedural requirements. He urged the court to invoke Rule 8 of the appeal rules and dismiss the application. Lead Defense Counsel R.S. Wright countered that the objection was premature. He argued that Rule 8 provides guidance but does not impose absolute compliance with every statutory provision. Wright further contended that the prosecution's objection lacked legislative foundation, insisting that admissibility of appeals is a matter for judicial determination, not prosecutorial discretion. After hearing both sides, Justice Gegba adjourned the matter to June 18, 2026, when he is expected to rule on whether the appeal will proceed or be dismissed. After the preliminary stage, Zainab Shaif was found guilty of incitement and using threatening language under Section 3.2 of the Public Order Act 1965. Shaif's conviction stemmed from remarks made at a political rally in January, where prosecutors presented video evidence alleging she called election rigging treason and said those responsible and their families should be killed. The court found the statement amounted to incitement and threatening language. Her case has drawn significant public attention, with observers noting its implications for freedom of expression, political speech, and the application of Sierra Leone's public order laws. For SLBC, Mohammed Kouma reporting.
It's now time for us to go in for the latest updates in sport.
Thank you so much for having me. Of course, it's the sporting updates that keeps you in the know. Now, the 2026 FIFA Men's Football World Cup is on with electrifying performances, and we saw the match between Qatar and Switzerland, which played to a 1-0 draw. The World Cup is on, and fans are enjoying every bit of the action. Now, let's move our attention to cricket. Now, stakeholders and cricket enthusiasts and members of the Sierra Leonean sporting community gathered at the Kingston Police Barracks in Freetown for stakeholders engagement, an event that seeks re-election for the chairman of Cricket Sierra Leone, Francis Trevor Samora. This report was filed in by our intern reporter Alimami Conte and read in the studios by Ibrahim Samora.
It was a colorful and energetic atmosphere at the Kingston Police Field, and supporters arrived following a health walk from the National Stadium with brass band and dancing supporters filling the air. The event reflected both growing political support and rising enthusiasm for the future of cricket in Sierra Leone. Addressing stakeholders, Francis Trevor Samora described his endorsement by the Members' Council of Cricket Sierra Leone Limited as a major vote of confidence from the sport's highest governing structure, representing 57 clubs and more than 126 teams nationwide.
Not again at the world where this kind of today. This board under Mio leadership don't take the venture for construct state-of-the-art cricket playing facility. Na Frabe College, Portgate, Montreal. and are 2 grounds we dey construct there. When then facility then they complete, we also dey undertake construction at the Sussex site where President Bio give this association for construct cricket ground. No board of executive management committee not ever undertake this kind of development.
Samura highlighted key reforms introduced under his leadership, including financial support to clubs that previously self-funded participation in competitions, as well as the introduction of player contracts aimed at professionalizing the sport. At the grassroots level, he pointed to expansion of school cricket through the ICC-backed Sirioli program, which has introduced thousands of pupils to the game through simplified formats and school-based competitions. Women's cricket, he said, continues to record some of the fastest growth, with thousands of girls now participating in structured cricket programs across the country. Support for Mr. Samura's leadership was echoed by key stakeholders, including President of the Stakeholders Committee, David Nelson Williams, who praised his consistency and patience in developing young talent and expanding access to the sport.
The committee decide because that person will get patient. That person will get patient. If today, Usa would so, if this man not be get patient, he get for don't die. And now we know the game well. So with him, he get patient for gonna pick the host them, get a pick them, get a mama them, papa them. As soon as we don't demonstrate today, say the man already for continue the next 5 years again.
Club officials and parents also commended ongoing reforms, particularly the increased opportunities for youths and the structured pathway now emerging from schools to national teams. As Cricket CLO moves forward and other electoral circle stakeholders say the focus remains on sustaining growth, particularly in grassroots development, women's cricket, coaching systems, and infrastructure expansion. For many, the conversation is no longer just about leadership, but about mainstreaming momentum in a sport that is steadily finding its place in Sierra Leone's sporting landscape.
And now to another development. Jose Mourinho has returned as Real Madrid boss after 13 years. Well, Real Madrid is one of the biggest teams in the world, and the gaffer is hoping to have a decent one this time around. He's been a wonderful manager with huge pedigree in terms of football management. Here is the update.
Jose Mourinho's return to Real Madrid has been confirmed by the club 13 years after he was last led the team as gaffer. The 63-year-old Portuguese manager signed a 3-year contract that runs until June 2029 and will officially join the club on July 13th for the start of the pre-season. The former Chelsea and Man United coach joined from Benfica after Real Madrid finalized a €15 million compensation package to the club. Club president Florentino Perez has entrusted him with fixing players' relationships such as those with Vinicius Jr. and maximizing the potential of Kylian Mbappe.
And that ends your update, and thank you so much for watching, and all the best to the African teams competing in the 2026 FIFA Men's Football World Cup, and FIFA to the Black Stars of Ghana as they will be up against Panama in the opening match. And that's your Sports Ibrahim. Thank you so much for having me.
From Abdul Kabir with Sports Update, that's how we cut this edition of Weekend News. I came to you from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Before we go, a quick recap of our main point. According to the Sierra Leone Electricity and Water Regulatory Commission, some communities in the regions pay electricity bills or face forceful meter removal despite long blackout periods. The Minister of Planning and Economic Development has launched 8 strategic development plans aimed at guiding the development actions of 8 councils across the country. Launching the plan, the Minister of Planning and Economic Development, Minister Kenny Abale, promised to take development to the 190 chiefdoms in the country. And President Julius Maada Bio, Chairman of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, is in Abuja, Nigeria, to participate in an high-level celebrating the life, leadership, and enduring legacy of former Nigerian head of state General Abdul Salami Abubakar. The event honors General Abdul Salami Abubakar's remarkable contributions to the democratic governance, peace building, and regional stability. From that, that's how we wrap up this edition of the Weekend News that came to you from the Salient Broadcasting Corporation. I have been your anchor, Esther Sako. Good night.